Most people think that feeding plants is just dumping some fertilizer on them and hoping for the best. But out here, we actually use 3 completely different methods, and they all serve a different purpose. So we're going to walk through exactly how we feed everything in this garden, from quick liquid feeds to compost from our chickens and all the way to worm castings. So let me show you how each one actually fits. Come on. So usually when most people think of fertilizers, they think of this kind of stuff right here, which is a synthetic fertilizer. This is a Miracle Grow tomato blend, and we use it as our all-around vegetable garden fertilizer. But you don't have to use this. There's all sorts of things. We have here what I use for my seedlings, the Maxi Grow hydroponics blend. It has a lot of different nutrients and stuff that you can use for your garden. But if you want to go organic, there's also all sorts of liquid fertilizers like this Neptune's Harvest. It's an organic liquid fertilizer that you can just spread onto your garden. Now, typically, when you use a fertilizer like this, you just take some and you mix it into a watering can and then go around and fertilize your vegetables. But here at Albin Acres, we actually like to keep things automated. So we use a inline injection system in our garden, and we'll show that to you in just a minute. Now, using this type of fertilization, it's fast and it's easy, and it gives that plants that boost right away, right exactly when they need it. And when most people think of fertilizing, that's what they tend to reach for. And we're no different. If you're just starting out on your fertilization journey, this method with these synthetic fertilizers will be a great start, because it is the easiest to jump into and it'll take you a long way. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you, if you follow me down here, the injector system. Now, this is a fertilizer injection system that I purchased from Drip Depot, which is where we got all of our drip irrigation supplies. Pretty simple in how it works. Basically, the water comes into this black line here. It shoots into the container, mixes with the fertilizer, and then proceeds out this clear tube back into the drippers, and then we'll go ahead and feed the entire garden. And to use it, it couldn't be simpler. All you have to do is just disconnect the tubes from either side, unscrew this top lid, mix your fertilizer in a separate cup. I tend to use 4 or 5 big scoops and just dump it straight in. Now, there are a few different rate settings that you can set on the fertilizer injector, and it comes with instructions on how to use each and every one of those. For us, we typically keep it set on 2, and I feed every week or every other week, and it seems to be working great for us. But you can adjust as needed. Well, that takes care of synthetic fertilizers. Let's go ahead and talk about our second thing. And for that, we're going to have to go visit the chickens. All right, welcome to where all the magic happens. Now, in this is not just the bottom of our chicken run, but this is actually my compost factory. I have tried doing traditional composts where you do the layering of greens and browns and greens and browns and heat and water and all that stuff. And that does work very great, and I love that process, honestly a little too much. But I have found that the chickens are way better at making compost than I am. All we do is we take grass clippings and our kitchen scraps, and we just throw it in here along with their bedding, and they go through and they scratch and look at it all day. And as they turn the different parts and pieces together, they're not only mixing up the compost and allowing that process to go, but they're doing something very special, and that is pooping. Chicken manure is a fantastic source of nitrogen, and when they mix that into the compost, it works wonders on your garden. If you come in closer, I'll show you how light and fluffy this is. It is just absolutely amazing compost. It's light, it's airy, it's completely broken down. It composts in half the time, and it couldn't be cooler. And the chickens actually enjoy the process, because when we come in here, we turn the pile periodically, and they just scratch it all back down, and they find a lot of bugs and worms and stuff in it, and they like it too. Now, we mix all sorts of things into the chicken compost: grass clippings, kitchen scraps, the pine bedding from their coop, and pretty much anything that I would put into a normal compost pile, I would put in here for the chickens, and they love every single bit of it. Now, in order to keep moisture in the chicken compost here, we do have a sprinkler set up just right here that will spray the pile once or twice a day. That not only keeps moisture in the compost, but also keeps them cool when it gets hot in the summertime. And harvesting the chicken compost couldn't be simpler. If we just need a little bit, I'll go ahead and grab a 5-gallon bucket, and I have this little 1/2-inch mesh strainer. It just sets on top of the bucket like this, and I'll just grab a couple scoops. Now, the reason that you sift it is because, since this is an active system, and not everything will be completely broken down, so there'll be a little bit bigger bits in here. But I just shake it through there, and then what you're left with is ready compost, ready to go, and you just put it right on your garden. Now, if I know some people will say that the chicken manure is a little too hot to put onto plants, and that is true. So I wouldn't put this on young seedlings or plants that were just put into the garden. But what I primarily use this for is for bed prep, like in the winter and early spring when we're getting the beds ready for planting. I'll put it in there and let it veg out for about a month or so, and just let all that nutrition get right into the garden bed. And we do have a faster process for this. I don't always do it with a 5-gallon bucket. When we're trying to get a bunch of chicken compost for the garden beds, I'll come in with a wheelbarrow and a bigger screen, and we'll shovel out scoops and move it out that way. And then as we apply it to the beds, we'll just dump an entire wheelbarrow into the bed before we add our other soil amendments for the season. Now, we unintentionally did an experiment this year, and I accidentally forgot to add the chicken compost to one of the beds, and I'll go ahead and show you those plants that they don't seem to be doing as well, and I really think it might be because of this. The chicken compost has a lot of benefits for our garden beds. Not only does it improve the microbiology in our soil, it also aerates the soil and allows it to hold moisture better. All right, that's about going to do it for chicken compost. I'm ready to get out of this chicken coop, but I've still got one more way I want to show you that we feed our garden, and it might be perhaps my favorite way. I've got worms. Seriously though, I do have worms. Worm castings. Gardens love them, and I got into this about a year ago as a weird birthday present request. I asked for 1,000 or a pound of red wiggler worms, and I've been keeping them right here in this tub, feeding them every other week or month or 2 months or so, and they do all the work. They just eat kitchen scraps and convert it into this thing called worm castings, and it is black gold for gardens. This, hands down, is one of the best organic garden fertilizers, because packed in here is not only nutrition for your plants, but so much microbiology, which unlocks the nutrition that's available to your plants. Worms don't ask for much. All they need is a nice, cool, dark place to live out their life. I feed them kitchen scraps, banana peels, chopped up vegetable scraps and stuff like that, and just put a little bit of a shredded paper and moisture, and they turn it over time into just the absolute best garden fertilizer that money can buy. You can buy worm castings in a bunch of stores and garden stores and online and stuff, but it is very expensive to get high quality castings. If you find some cheap castings out there online or in the stores, chances are they've been thinned out using peat moss or other fillers so that you're not getting pure 100% castings. Now, castings is really honestly just a fancy word for worm poop. They eat the food, they eat the bedding, and it comes out the other end and it's just ready to go. You don't have to let it cool down, you don't have to let it compost, and you can just add it straight to your plants. Now, what I like to do when we plant our plants and we dig the hole, I'll just take a little pinch of worm castings, put it right into the hole before we put that plant in. Otherwise, you can take the worm castings and just side dress your plants right there at the base of the plant and just let all that nutrition go down into the roots. Now, keeping worms has got to be one of the easiest things that you can do, but there is a lot to learn about it. And if you guys take the moment and like and comment on this video, I might put out a whole video on just taking care of worms, because it is a very fascinating part of gardening and homesteading. Now, the hardest part about using worm castings has got to be sifting them from your worms, because if I was to reach into this bin and pull out a big old handful, I'm not going to just get castings, I'm also going to get worms, and I don't want them to leave this bin and go into my garden. While they would be beneficial for the garden, I want to keep the population here so I can keep them working for me. If you look real close in the worm castings, you can see little tiny cocoons, and I want to make sure that I sift all those out from the castings so that I can keep the population right here and keep them growing. I'm not saying that you absolutely have to have worm castings for your garden, but if you can get your hands on some, you will see a night and day difference in the harvest and the overall health of your plants. So that's basically our three-step approach to feeding our garden. Step one, liquid fertilizer. It's fast. It's like giving an energy drink to your plants and giving them the nutrition when they need it. The chicken compost, step two, it's slower, but it gives soil nutrition and structure that you need for your plants to be healthy. And finally, number three, worm castings. Gives those plants much needed biology and just overall organic life in your garden. Not one of these systems is better than the other, But that's why we use all three that works together and helps us grow the best garden possible. Thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw today, please take a moment to subscribe and hit that like button and ring that bell for notifications. So this is Daniel at Albin Acres, and I'm just going to go ahead and say bye for now.